Hi, welcome to Coding Class with MasterHun. This is episode 10, and this will be a review episode. We will be reviewing Booleans, variables, conditionals, literals, hard coding, what is an expression, what is a statement. So it's a review. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, what is a value? What is a value? What is a value? Okay. What is a literal? Okay, they're kind of the same things. Okay. So if we look at this line 14 and 15, we see we're creating a variable called text1, and we have this string literal or literal. It's a string. It's words between double quotes. It's hello, and you can't see it here, but it's hello, the word hello plus a space. Okay, can you see that? Hello and a space. The word hello and space. So in order to create a variable in Python, we need to have a variable name, text1, and then we have the assignment operator, the equal sign, and then we have a value. So once we put a value inside the variable, in this case text1, we create a variable. So how do we create a variable? We need a value. So what is so this string literal hello space would be an example of a value. Also, we not only have strings, we also have integers, which are whole numbers, and floats, which are numbers with a decimal point. So integers, for example, would be, so an integer, let's say like int1, for example, this would be an integer. So if we had a float 1, if we would have like 5.5, or it could be 5.0, or it could be 1.0 or 1.1. So those would be 50 would be an integer too. So 50 would be an integer. 1.1 would be a float because it has a decimal point in it. Okay. And another kind of data type or value would be a Boolean value. So we could make a Boolean 1, and we could set it to false. Okay. We could make a Boolean 2 and set it to true. That's another data type. We have strings, we have integers, we have floats, and we have Booleans. Keep in mind that in Python, false, the word false must start with a capital F, and the word true in Python must start with a capital T. Boolean can never be both true and false at the same time. It can only be either false or true. Another way to think of false is the number 0, and another way to think of true is the number 1. Okay. So values are very important. Without values, we wouldn't be able to create any variables. Okay. Again, what is a literal? A literal is a fixed value. For example, let's go back to line 14 and line 15. This part here, highlighted, is a string literal or literal. This string will not just magically change and when the program runs. It will always stay, this literal will always stay the same hello space. The word hello plus a space. This string here is the word hello. This is the word world. This string literal, this string will not change. It is a literal, string literal, or a value, string value. Okay? However, the variable text1, it can change. And it does in this code. In line 14, this variable is assigned a value of this string literal, hello, and the space. Then on line 15, I assign another string literal to this variable. So what happened to this string literal on line 14? It's gone. It's gone. So the hello space string literal has been replaced by the world string literal. Okay, so what is the output? So on line 14, text 1 was set to hello space. Then line 15, text 1 was set to this string literal value, world. So what prints out? It prints out world. The hello part is gone. Okay, and we can see here on the output if we look at the right side, the output, this is what happened. Okay, that was our output. When line 16 was executed, print text 1, this is what we saw. This is what got outputted, world. Okay, so the previous value that was in text, the string literal, that was in text 1 is gone. It was replaced by world, the world string. Okay. Okay, value, variable. Again, a variable. What is a variable? A variable is a box with a name that holds a value. Okay? What is a value? A value could be a Boolean, true or false. A value could be an integer, a whole number, 0, 1, 2, 3, 50, 20, -5. Could be a floating point number, could be 1.0, 1.1, 2.5, 3.2, 3.0. It could also be a string. It could be the word hello in double quotes, inside double quotes. It could be what up in the words what up in double quotes. Okay? What is a literal? A literal is a fixed value. So for example, hello, the words hello world inside double quotes, that is a fixed value. Hello world, the string hello world is not going to magically change at all. It will always be hello world. Variables change, can change, usually do change. Variables change. Values do not. Fixed values are fixed. They do not change. Literals do not change. Okay. So then we come to what is hard coding. So hard coding would be the situation where instead of variables, we used fixed values or literals. Okay? Now in this example, if we look at this example here, line 14, 15, and 16, you see we use a variable, text1. Okay? And this is a common example, common problem with new coders. They do a lot of hard coding for no reason. Okay? In this example, right, we're using the variable text1. Okay? We're printing the variable. We're not printing a fixed value. So this would be an example of where we are soft coding. We're using a variable. Okay? Lines 14, 15, and 16, we are using a variable. Now, instead of using a variable, we could hard code this like this, right? We would get the same result. We would print hello world, right? We would print hello world, but guess what? We're not using a variable. Okay? But what if we, instead of just 3 lines of code, what if we had 300 lines of code? If we had 300 lines of code and we had hello world hard-coded in 20, 40, 50 lines in our 300 lines of code, then we have to go to each line of code that has this string literal or fixed value, and we would have to change it if we needed to change this message, right? We would have to change this, okay? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the I should have used the other code. Oops. I meant to, I'm sorry, meant to refer to lines 22, 23, 24, and 25. Okay? If we look at these lines, right? Text 1 was assigned a value hello, the string hello with the space, and then we concatenated or joined the string world to it. So then when we go to line 25, execute line 25, then we're going to print hello world. Okay? So this variable text1, it changed. It didn't stay the same. It wasn't hello with the space. It became hello with the space plus with the word hello. So it became the two words hello world, hello space world. So it became this string literal, hello world. Okay? Also, when we printed the string text1, the string variable text1, you can see here in the output, the quotation marks are gone. So the quotation marks won't appear in the output. The quotation marks only appear in the code. Okay, please keep that in mind. Okay. Okay, so hard coding. So hard coding is when you use fixed values or literals in your code instead of variables. So why are variables useful, right? Why do we want to use variables? Why are variables useful? Oops. Why are variables useful? Why are variables useful? Variables are useful because, obviously, we store values in variables. So why do we store values in variables? So we can use the same value in different locations in our program. Okay? In other words, the opposite of hard coding. Instead of using fixed values, we use variables. So it allows us to use the same value in multiple locations in our code. And if we need to change the value, we only need to change the value. We only need to change the variable. We don't need to change the value in every location in each line of code where we have the value that we need to change. So we only need to change it in one place. So that saves a lot of time. Makes it easy to fix and maintain code when you use variables. If you use lots of fixed values in multiple locations in your code, you're making your life a living hell. Don't do that. Okay? Avoid hard coding. Soft coding is better. Soft code. Use variables. Don't use fixed values. Okay? In other words, we use variables instead of hard coding fixed values. Lastly, variables allow us to solve a big problem with simple steps. By using variables, we can break up a big problem into simple steps. And this is a line, we have line 48, lines 48, 49, 50, and 51, and gives you just a very short example. So line 48, we use the input function to get a number. We put it into the variable. We put it inside the variable num1. Again, we're soft coding. We're using a variable. And now we're going to take that number. We're going to take that number, num1. We're going to make it into a float by using the float function. And then we're going to divide it by the number 2. And then we're going to create another variable, result. So we have num1 to get a number, to store a number. We're using the variable result to store or save our answer. And then here in this print statement, then we're going to print the answer. Okay? But result is a float. Remember, when we divide an integer with an integer, we get a float. When we divide a float with an integer, we get a float. If you divide a float by a float, you get a float. Okay, basically, when you divide, you get a float. So the floating point number cannot be concatenated with a string. We need to turn the floating point number into a string first. Then we can concatenate it or join it with another string. Okay, keep that in mind. So that's why we have the str, the string function. We need to typecast or cast the float into a string in order to use the print function correctly. Otherwise, you will get an error. Okay? And if we see over here, right, the result was the floating point number 4.5 in this example. But that's a float. But in order to print it out, we need to convert the float into a string. And that's why we needed to use the str, the string function, okay, to turn the result, which is a float, into a string. Okay. Now let's go to what is an expression. What is an expression? Okay, versus what a statement is. It can be a little confusing. What is an expression? Okay, an expression is a combination of values, variables, and or operations. Expressions are important, but they do not move the program forward. Statements move the program forward. Okay? Statements do something. Expressions, they do not move the program forward. If we look at line 58, 25 plus 25, we have two values and an operation. That is 25 plus 25 is an expression. 25 plus 25 evaluates to 50. Okay? So we have this expression here, and Python will evaluate it. And then we get the result, which is 50. Okay? But 25 plus 25 is not a statement. It is an expression. If we have x plus y, that is an expression. X plus 50, that is an expression. 25 plus 25, it is an expression. It is not a statement. However, we have lines 58, 59, and 60. We have three print commands. The print function or the print command, that is a statement. So we have three statements. Each line of code in Python is a statement. Okay? So these are three statements. Okay? They move the program forward. They do something. Okay? Statements move the program forward. Print functions, assignment operations. Okay? An if statement, a for loop. They move the program forward. Expressions evaluates to a value. Expressions do not move the program forward. Statements move the program forward. Okay? Expressions are combinations of values, variables, expressions are combinations of values, operations, and or variables. Okay? Okay, what are Booleans? Okay, I talked about that before. A Boolean is a variable that can only have two values. A Boolean can either be true or false. And again, the true starts with a capital T and the false starts with a capital F. If you type the true with a lowercase t, you'll get an error. Okay, look what I did here, right? Line 65. Homework done equals true, but that's wrong because I use a lowercase t, and I'm going to get an error. I'm going to get an error here on the output screen. Okay, oops, I got an error. Name error. Name true is not defined. Okay, Python doesn't know what this lowercase. Okay, if I put a capital T, oh, now it knows. It knows what the capital T is. Doesn't know what a lowercase t true is. Okay. Homework done was set. The Boolean homework done is true. So, okay, you get 2 hours of screen time. Okay. If I set homework done to false, what happens? What's the message that we're going to get? What is the message we're going to get instead? The Boolean homework done is false. Didn't do your homework. Uh-oh. This is the message that's going to print out. No Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi. No screen time for you. Whoa. Sad, sad, sad. Sad. No Wi-Fi for you. Sad, sad, sad. Okay, lastly, we have conditionals. So what is a conditional? So in this example, we have an if-else statement. If this condition, homework done, is true, then we will print this message. Okay, 2 hours of screen time. Happy, happy. But if homework done is false, then we're going to immediately go to this else, and we're going to print this nasty message. No Wi-Fi, no screen time for you. Sad, sad. Okay? So depending on whether the Boolean or this condition here, homework done, whether it's true or false, we have 2 different paths. Okay? Now, instead of just putting this homework done, I could have put in equal to true. Okay? If homework done is equal, the 2 equal signs equal, if homework done equals true, then we would print this message, okay, 2 hours of screen time. If homework done if homework done is false, then false is not equal to true. So then this condition, homework done equals to true, would be false. So then we would jump to this else section, and then we would print this, oh, nasty message, no Wi-Fi for you. Okay, so you can see that if I code it this way, it would be the same. You would get the same, it would work the same. The Boolean homework done is false, so false is not equal to true, so we jump to the else section and we would print this message. No Wi-Fi, no screen time for you. Sad, sad. Okay, and if we change this to, if homework done is true, then we would get the happy message, right? The Boolean homework done is true. Okay, 2 hours of screen time. Happy, happy. Okay? But if we just change the condition to just this Boolean here, if homework done, it would be the same. It would be the same if you coded this way. Homework done equals to true, or just using the Boolean as is, homework done. Those 2 things are the same. They work the same. Okay, thank you for coming along with me on this review. We reviewed value, variable, literal, hardcoding, expressions, statements, booleans, and conditionals. Thank you for joining me in this review. I look forward to meeting you in the next episode. Thank you very much.